Alrighty, let us begin to discuss Jacob. Jacob, Isaac's, who is Abraham's grandson. So we have just a short little quote to go into this narrative today, titled, or quotes, "He was so fair that they called him Lady of Christ College." This is by John Milton. Not really sure the context, right? He was so fair that they called him the Lady of Christ College. I don't know, but he was so fair. He was so fair. We're going to talk about fairness in a way. What is fair? What is not fair? And what happens and how you deal with maybe any sort of injustice. Yes, basically. We'll talk about this, and we are talking about family to keep in line with the Thanksgiving theme. And if you remember where we left off, Jacob is traveling to the land of the east to go find his distant family, right? His mom's brothers, something of that sort, right? Father's brothers, something. Not father's brothers, but I forget. But it gets just so tied up. But yes. Let's talk about, he's traveling to the east. He's trying to find his wife. He's trying to find someone that he can marry, Mr. Jacob. Okay. So he comes across these shepherds. And Jacob asks the shepherds, "My brothers, where are you from?" "We're from Haran," they replied. He said to them, "Do you know Laban, Noah's grandson?" That's the clarity there. "Yes, we know him," they answered. Then Jacob asked them, "Is he well?" "Yes, he is," they said. Ask them. "Yes, he is," they said. "And here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep." Oh, we learn here about Rachel. "Look," he said, "the sun is still high. It is not time for the flocks to be gathered. Water the sheep and take them back to the pasture." So he sees Rachel, locks eyes with Rachel, gets all excited, and is like, "Oh, well, let's wait it out. Take these sheep. I'm going to try to go talk to Rachel." I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah had weak eyes, but Rachel had a lovely figure and was beautiful. So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days because of his love for her. So that was the thing. He couldn't just take Rachel away, so he agreed with the father, Laban, that he would work for him for 7 years. Then Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wife. My time is completed. I want to make love to her." When morning came, there was Leah. Oh my goodness. So I left out some of the nitty-gritty details. But basically, the night of the wedding, they had a celebration. Everybody was drunk. And very late in the evening, when all the candles were out, essentially he woke up with Leah next to him, not Rachel. So I don't know how, I guess the senses again were very dulled and nothing was clear. So it turns out that Jacob had consummated his marriage with not Rachel, but Leah. This part always gets me. Anyways, when morning came, there was Leah. So Jacob said to Laban, What is this you have done to me? I served you for Rachel, didn't I? Why have you deceived me?" He's like, "Finish this daughter's bridal week, then we'll give you the younger one also, in return for another 7 years of work." And Jacob did so. He finished the week with Leah, and then Laban gave him his daughter Rachel to be his wife. So anyways, after the week, Rachel was also with Jacob. So Jacob has 2 wives, Leah and Rachel. And he is entitled to both of them, but then he has to work another 7 years and stay with the family for another 7 years. Anyways, they are consummating, and when Rachel saw that she was not bearing Jacob any children, she became jealous of her sister because Leah was having children by Jacob. Then she said, "Here is Bilhah, my servant. Sleep with her so that she can bear children for me, and I can build a family through her." Rachel's servant Bilhah conceived again, So she conceived one time and then conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. God listened to Leah, and she became pregnant and bore Jacob a fifth son. So it says Leah again. She's up to 5 children now. Then God remembered Rachel. He listened to her and enabled her to conceive. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son and said, God has taken away my disgrace. She named him Joseph and said, May the Lord add to me another son. So lots of things going on. Jacob is having lots of children by Leah, and then Rachel was feeling left in the dust. Her servant was even having children because this was, a normal and accepted thing to do. Yes. And again, this is all about multiplying, growing the numbers. There were very few people on the earth at this time, so it just made sense that everybody wanted to have as many children as possible. Anyways, after Rachel gave birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, Send me on my way so I can go back to my own homeland. But Laban said to him, If I have found favor in your eyes, please stay. I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you. What shall I give you? He asked. Don't give me anything, Jacob replied. But if you will do this one thing for me, I will go on tending your flocks and watching over them. Let me go through all of your flocks and remove from them every speckled or spotted sheep, every dark-colored lamb, and every spotted or speckled goat. They will be my wages. So, again, Jacob's doing all of this work, not necessarily getting any fair payment or anything like that. I mean, he's getting paid, but it's just not anything worth his time, essentially. So he's feeling taken advantage of. He's growing his family there, and he'd like to just go back and take his wife and children away, and then hopefully a little bit of something to go home with. But Laban I would say he's a bit greedy. I would say he's acting a bit greedy and entitled to his own children, which is not really something that you can do, especially when they're of age. But yes, anyways, Jacob has a plan. Jacob is thinking, he's like, how can I, escape with something? He needed to leave with something in his pocket. Jacob, however, took fresh-cut branches from the poplar, almond, and plane trees and made white stripes on them by peeling the bark and exposing the white inner wood of the branches. Then he placed the peeled branches in all of the watering troughs, so that they would be directly in front of the flocks when they came to drink. When the flocks were in heat, they came to drink. They made it in front of the branches, and they bore young that were streaked, or speckled, or spotted. So this is a long-term plan. Jacob's still in charge of tending to the flock, especially as they are mating and having new members, right? And that was Jacob's plan all along, to make sure he can get, some things to take for himself of the flock. But pretty much every one of them had spots, and people were noticing that. Jacob heard that Laban's sons were saying, Jacob has taken everything our father owned and has gained all his wealth from what belonged to our father. And Jacob noticed that Laban's attitude towards him was not what it had been. He said to them, I see that your father's attitude towards me is not what it was before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have worked for your father with all my strength, yet your father has cheated me by changing my wages 10 times. However, God has not allowed him to harm me. Then Jacob put all his children and his wife on the camels, and he drove all his livestock ahead of him, along with all the goods that he accumulated in Padan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. So this was the result. He's just up and he's gone. He's like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I don't like to be mistreated. We're taking my wife and children and we're leaving. Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country of Gilead when Laban overtook him, and Laban and his relatives camped there too. Why did you run off secretly and deceive me? Why didn't you tell me so that I could send you away, or why didn't you tell me so I could send you away with joy and singing to the music of timbrels and harps? So that is Laban's response. Why, you should have told me. I would have given you a great going away party, which was probably not true. But anyways, he's angry, his sons are angry, and they are searching through Jacob's things to find, what was stolen. Something that was left out is, I think, either Rachel or Leah, one of the two, stole their idols. So Laban was somebody who prayed to idols and things like that. They stole his gods, their idols, and just kept them. She hid them under the camel's saddle, or within the camel's saddle. So they searched the tents and everything, and they couldn't find the gods. So they got away with that one. Now that you have searched through all my goods, what have you found that belongs to your household? Put it here in front of your relatives and mine, and let them judge between the two of us. So Jacob is feeling brave, but yes, luckily they did not find those things, those gold idols. Laban answered Jacob, the women are my daughters, and the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks. All you see is mine. Yet what can I do today about these daughters of mine, or about the children they have borne? Come now, let's make a covenant between you and I, and let it serve as a witness between us. Early the next morning, Laban kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them. Then he left and returned home. So good. There was a good covenant between them. They left on good terms. But yes, he was feeling a little bit cheated, just as Jacob was feeling cheated. There's always two sides of the coin, right? But in this case, of course, Jacob is blessed and he's protected and he's being divinely guided, just as everyone else in his family line. And so he's kind of on the right side of things, or we like to think that, right? But Laban ends up, forgiving them and sending them on their way. And that is the story of Jacob's time with Laban's family, with Rachel and Leah's family, and the story of Rachel and Leah. They had some competition. Leah was not even supposed to be in the mix. And then she started having all these children. Rachel was upset, but she was taken care of at the end of the day. But wonderful. That is the story of part 8 of Genesis. I'm wondering how many parts there are going to be. We're actually almost done. I'm just realizing I'm messing up some of these numbers here. I went from 30 down to 25. Let me change these chapters. But anyways, we're already in chapter 30, which means I think Genesis goes up to 30 or 45 or 40. So we're almost done. That's a good thing. I know this seemed like it took long, but I guess it was about a week or two, about 2 weeks, getting through all of this. Genesis is one of the longer books because it's a lot of introduction, a lot of lineage, just a lot of formation of civilization and society, so it's bound to have a lot of details here and some great stories, right? Who knew that all of these stories were in Genesis? And what's great is we didn't even get to the part of Joseph yet. We'll learn about Jacob's son, Joseph. And I know we all know what that story is, the coat of many colors. So it's great. These are all of our childhood stories and Bible tales that we remember so well. So it's nice to be able to read them and look all the way back. So have a great Thanksgiving. Have a great celebration, everybody. Enjoy your time. Just, even if you're working or not working, take some time to rest and relax at some point, right? But have a great day and evening. I will catch you another time. Bye-bye.